Congratulations, you've scrolled to another insanely thrilling blockbuster. The story takes place over the Fjord in western Norway, telling of a local fish farm owner who, in order to increase salmon production, recklessly destroys the marine ecological environment. And it is precisely because of the greedy owner's wanton destruction that the ancient giant beast sleeping in the deepest part of the fjord is completely awakened. The story begins. Two young guys are riding jet skis on the Norwegian Strait, feeling the wind and speed. Just as the two are circling continuously on the surface of the water, a huge black shadow suddenly appears on the seabed. This area is precisely Norway's largest salmon farming base. The owner of the fish farm, John, hopes to get investment from a wealthy Japanese businessman and directly increase salmon production to 10 times the current amount. But the businessman thinks that high-density farming will greatly increase the risk of salmon being infected with sea lice. And the most important thing in farming salmon is to do a good job of pest control at the fish farm. Then owner John immediately states that they have already developed a special sonic device that can completely eliminate all the parasites on the salmon without harming the salmon. Although John superficially assures the investor that there will be no problems, in reality this sonic device has a huge safety hazard. The inventor of this sonic device is named Anna, a senior expert from the Norwegian Ocean Research Institute. Just now, she received a video sent from the fish farm. The footage shows countless salmon frantically jumping onto the shore. Clearly, this abnormal situation is no longer a simple ecological problem. At this time, Anna directly pins the problem on the sonic device. Because before inventing this device, Anna already anticipated that this device would have some impact on the marine ecology. Then she hurried to the site where the video was filmed. At this time, the salmon on the shore had already been cleaned up, but several pieces of torn fishing net that appeared on the shore caught Anna's attention. At this time, the floats on the fishing net were already damaged. You should know that the pressure resistance of these floats is extremely high. To crush them all, at least several tons of force would be needed to drag the floats to the bottom of the sea to accomplish it. With full of questions, Anna came inside the fish farm. Then she carefully selected a healthy salmon. In order to test whether there was a problem with a sonic device, Anna directly dissected the salmon's heart. Next, she slowly turned on the sonic device beside her. However, what Anna feared most still happened. Above a certain decibel level, the sonic device can not only disperse parasites, but when the sound wave frequency reaches a certain threshold, it will also have a fatal effect on the salmon's heart. And once the range of the sonic device begins to expand, those affected will not only be salmon, but all living creatures in the entire bay. And at this time, the observation station inside the fish farm suddenly issued an alarm alert. The monitoring shows that a sonic device fixed on the seabed suddenly lost signal. The person in charge of the fish farm, Mad, immediately had the device retrieved. When they opened the device's cover, they found that the internal core components had suffered severe damage. Just as the two of them, Mad, were puzzled, a strange sound came from inside the device. After Anna's dissection and examination, she found that the sticky, strange creature should be a deep sea parasite never discovered by humans. From inside its body, they also found a large amount of green fluorescent substance. But for a parasite this big in size, what kind of huge host would it have to parasitize on to be able to survive? At this time, on the other side of the coast, the jet ski ridden by those two young guys was washed to the shore by the waves. But the local police did not report this matter, because this place is not only a salmon farming base, but also a famous tourist attraction in Norway. And at this time, Anna also discovered something new. She detected the signal emitted by the sonic device. Even 3 kilometers away from the fish farm, on the seabed, this kind of sound wave has extremely strong penetration in the seabed and can easily cover the seabed 1,000 meters deep. And according to Mad's layout at the time, within a 3-kilometer range of the sonic device, sound wave blockers had already been installed. With the interference of the blockers, the sound wave 根本不可能超过信号的拦截范围. Realizing something was wrong, Anna immediately went to Mad to ask about the situation, and Mad was certain that he had installed the blockers around the fish farm. The sound wave signal 根本不可能传播出去. But just in case, Mad still called the fish farm owner John, and John informed Mad that in order to get investment from the Japanese businessman, he ordered Big Beard, who was in charge of the equipment, to temporarily shut down the blocker. And this action was just to demonstrate to the businessman the pest removal range of the sonic device. At this time, John was already discussing the final stage with the businessman. As long as the investment contract was successfully signed, he said he would immediately turn the blocker back on. After explaining, he immediately hung up the phone. And at this time, John's daughter, Sarah, was boating with friends to the waters near the fish farm. Sarah had already learned from Anna that the culprit causing the abnormality in the salmon was the sonic device inside their own fish farm. Sarah didn't understand why her father would, for the sake of profit, do something that destroys the marine ecological environment. So Sarah, along with her 2 friends, prepared to sneak into the seabed and destroy the sonic device in the water. Then the man put on protective gear and dove into the water. Soon he found the location of the sonic device. But at this time, the man didn't know that in the quiet seawater, a dangerous creature was continuously wriggling toward him. Ah! Sarah immediately shouted loudly for help. The shouting also successfully caught Mad's attention. But at this time, the ground of the entire fish farm produced a violent shaking. A piercing alarm also rang in the fish farm's control room. At this time, the mooring cables used to fix the fish farm on the seabed had already been pulled taut and were about to face the risk of breaking. And on the sea surface near the fish farm, a thick layer of dense fog suddenly spread. Witnessing this bizarre scene before her eyes, Anna was directly stunned on the spot. Still shaken, Anna immediately returned to the fish farm's control room and told everyone about the giant tentacles she had just discovered. But at this time, time, a sound of metal impact came from outside the control room. Anna was very clear that the sea monster from earlier was precisely the host of these parasites. At this time, sounds were also continuously coming from the ventilation duct above their heads. The people inside the control room had already become lambs to be slaughtered. At this time, on the other side, Big Beard also discovered an abnormal situation. He saw that the monster's huge tentacles had already completely wrapped up the entire fish farm, and the other people inside the fish farm had not yet realized the danger was quietly approaching. Inside the fish farm's pipes, there were monsters wriggling tentacles everywhere. In order to save his daughter, who was dragged away by the monster, John directly tore off a section of steel pipe and smashed it hard at the tentacle. And on the other side, Big Beard actually hid directly in the fish farm's cold storage. But at this time, the cold storage had also already been occupied by parasites, maybe because of the low temperature. The parasites looked like they didn't have much vitality. Big Beard directly kicked one over. Driven by curiosity, Big Beard wanted to carefully observe the bizarre creature before his eyes. At this time, Anna was running around everywhere inside the cabin, but the monster's tentacles directly occupied all the escape routes. With no other option, Anna could only choose a relatively safe ventilation duct, but the monster had no intention of letting Anna go. Anna fell hard from the duct to the ground. At this time, the monster's tentacles were also about to launch an attack on Anna. Anna could only tentatively slowly escape from here, but the next second, the monster's tentacles directly reached out. At this time, Anna didn't dare make any sound. She was very clear that creatures living on the seabed generally determine their position by the vibration of prey, and Mad on the side was just about to raise an axe to chop at the monster. Anna, however, indicated for Mad not to act rashly. Mad, who put down the axe, directly started the propeller engine beside him. At the same time, on the other side, Sarah also woke up. Seeing the scene before her eyes, Sarah's heart was filled with fear. It was only when she saw her father John walking toward her that the fear in her heart gradually faded. Looking at his daughter before his eyes, John also felt extremely guilty in his heart. He was very clear that this series of disasters were all caused by his own greed. If at that time John had not gone to demonstrate the sonic device to the Japanese businessmen, the terrifying giant beast in the deep sea would not have been awakened. As the monster's tentacles came toward them, with no other option, the two could only jump into the water first. At this time, John was also very clear that only by returning to the fish farm's platform would there be any possibility of surviving. Then he pushed Sarah away, telling his daughter not to worry about him. But as soon as he finished speaking, John was dragged into the bottom of the water by the monster. The few people who survived luckily gathered in the control room. But with the current situation, the fish farm the monster's body continuously dragged the fish farm. It wouldn't be long before the entire platform would be dragged into the deep sea. Mad immediately fired a flare into the sky, and the crowd also, borrowing the faint red light, saw the monster's true appearance. In an emergency, an idea to deal with the monster appeared in Anna's mind. She and Mad came to the fish farm's warehouse and took out all the remaining sonic devices. Anna felt that since the monster was attracted by sound waves, it should also be possible to use sound waves to lure it away. Then Anna got on a boat with a sonic device and sailed in the direction away from the fish farm. After sailing a certain distance, Anna stopped. She decided to completely eliminate this deep sea monster right here. Then Anna adjusted the sonic device's frequency to the highest threshold. As the ear-piercing high-frequency vibration, the sonic device also slowly sank to the bottom of the sea. At this time, on the surface of the water behind Anna, thick fog also spread. It was very clear the monster was attracted by the sound waves. Just as Anna was looking around for the monster's figure, a suddenly rising wave directly slapped Anna into the seawater. Anna was also firmly locked by the monster's tentacles, looking at the other party's huge and murky eyes. At this moment, Anna had also already lost the strength to resist. But what Anna didn't expect was that the high-frequency vibration emitted by the sonic device at this moment produced resonance with the monster's heart. This ancient giant beast that had slept on the seabed for 1,000 years, ultimately still lost to human technology. And because it had been in high pressure, low oxygen seawater for a long time, Anna, who had run out of oxygen, still was not able to successfully return to the surface. And at the end of the story, the scene comes to 3 kilometers below the surface of the sea. Here is filled with endless darkness and silence. It is in this icy seawater that a giant egg-emitting fluorescence is pulsing rhythmically. And this egg represents not the end of the story, but the beginning of a brand new story.